1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like somebody ought to set the record straight. I feel like somebody ought to say something. And I feel like nobody is. I've been reading articles in the Reader's Digest and look in Post, Time, Life, and all the other magazines. And they talk about the angry generation. Our 10th new set of young people. The young people who have no cause. The hoods on the corners, the party crashers, the wild drivers, and so on and so forth. They quote me statistics. They give me answers. They tell me parents have to love them. They tell me that our problem stems from the fact that the young person feels like he's not at place. They say that our psychologists tell us that the young person has no cause. And I don't know. But I do know one thing for sure. And that's that I'm getting pretty tired of people telling me how I feel and people telling me what I think and what my generation thinks and what my generation is fixing to do. I want to make clear that I'm not protesting. This is not a big protest. I just think that somebody has to say something, because I know deep down inside of me what is wrong with our young people today. Because I'm a young people. I'm one of these people. I know it, and Lord knows that I feel that the work that is done by these people in an effort to solve the problem of juvenile delinquency, an effort to solve the problem that is so predominant now, it seems, in our American way of life with the youth, with the younger generation. I feel that these people have a lot to offer, and I think they're doing a tremendous job. And understand that I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not saying that anybody should be condemned for the sincere effort. And I know these people are sincere. There's no question in my mind. But I don't think they really know. I think it's a shot in the dark. I think it's related to a past experience. And I don't think that a teenager has gotten up and said with any degree of eloquence exactly what he thinks. And that's what I want to do. I want to make it clear to somebody the way we feel. And of course I say the ways we feel, like I'm representing the entire nation of teenagers, and of course I'm not. I'm just one guy, and myself, I don't even function real smoothly in the society of teenagers. But I think, and I exist, and I am, and therefore my ideas must be valid as far as that gives them validity. So I want to say what I feel, and I want to say what I feel people around me feel. And if I'm wrong, there can be the anguished cries of protest from far and near, and that's fine. I'm not offering this as definitive. I'm not offering this as an absolute. I'm just saying that this is the way I am thinking. A lot has been said, about cars and things of this nature, about the way that teenagers abuse the privilege of an automobile anymore, and the fact that teenagers rely so much on a car. And this is true. And I think that it's pretty valid to say that there's a feeling of control of power beneath you. I myself own a motorcycle, and I quite honestly admit that it is for the feeling of control of power that I have it there. But I think it goes just a little deeper than just wanting to control power. Although this is what the reason is. Now I understand I'm saying that this is the reason. I believe it, certainly. Coupled with the fact that you want to look nice, you know, it's the dream of every red-blooded American boy to have a big, bright red convertible or whatever, and to have the fastest car around, and that's the rise in all the speed equipment that's been going on. And I think that it's a good thing to say that yes, we seek for power. But when I analyzed it in my own mind, I found out this: that with this need for power and this feeling of security that the car gives you, and it gives you a feeling of security, that there is a feeling of belonging, of doing what your fellow people are doing, of satisfying your own inner appetite for this lust for power in a very superficial way. And I want to make it clear to people right here and now that teenagers think and teenagers believe in things that basically are not of a great value. And I don't think that's wrong. I don't think it's wrong, and understand, of course, I'm not saying this is a general rule, I'm saying this is a pretty good rule to follow. I don't think it's wrong for girls to wear their hair in bubble hairdos, and I don't think it's wrong for girls to chase boys, and I don't think it's wrong for girls to wear ridiculous amounts of makeup, because this is what we believe in. Now, if I was to stand up and say that this we believe in is right, of course, this itself would be wrong. Now, maybe I'm getting everybody twisted up and tangled up here. To restate the fact, I don't think it's wrong to believe in it. I think what we are believing in is wrong, but that's me. And I have figured this out as I've gone. But I think that there is a pretty quick amount of condemnation on people's part, on a parent and an adult, to say, grow up, put your values on something that really is worth something. And Lord knows we want to do this, but it's a question of crawling before you can walk. And so when a teenager runs out and gets in a big convertible with 4-speed four-shift and misconduring roller tantric cam and 6 one-barrel sitting on a Hawaiian log and a whole bit, and gets this girl in there and runs her across the white inaugurated rolled upholstery and the whole thing, and the girl's sitting there looking like the Queen of Sheba, and they have this big moment of exaltation. Right, that we have placed our values on something wrong. But we have placed our values. And this is more than we were doing when we were 10. This was more than we were doing when we were 8. And understand that we're growing up. And that for somebody to stand up and say, you're going to change this overnight, and you're going to make us put our values on something that makes a lot of sense, is ridiculous. You can't do it. Now then, I can hear everybody crying right now. Wait a minute. If you put your values on that, this leads to trouble. Well, this is where I think the perspective comes in. I have this word, I say perspective. It may not be a valid word. I mean, it may be, something I don't exactly mean to say, but anyway, it's kind of a pet thing. But I mean, a perspective of your own sense of values. You get things into your own life in a degree of importance as they are important to you. And when things get out of perspective, when things get out of their what am I trying to say? Degree of importance to you, then you run afoul of your problem of juvenile delinquency. When your big car becomes the sole governing aspect in your life, then you've got problems. Now, I don't mean to say that this isn't the case, because it sure the heck is. I feel like that there are a lot of people who have a car that's the most important thing to them in the world, and who live, eat, breathe, and sleep artistically warped sheets of red aluminum. But I don't think that this is the general rule, and I also don't think that this is a primary cause for anything. The car situation, not our system of values. Now, I think this might be the crux of the matter, but the car situation, I think, should be left alone. I'm going to change the page just for a second. Well, I went on a little bit much about the car deal, didn't I? I didn't mean to. I just listen to the tape and I see what I'm saying. Back to the perspective thing. We have our system of values placed upon the things that most people accredit to teenage life nowadays. And it's right. I mean, you're right. Well, that's exactly what we've got our system of values placed on. And so what? This is I'm frustrated. I can't exactly say what I want. Take for instance. Well, let's just go down this thing logically. Now, teenagers today think and function in a certain way that seems to be inappropriate, and to a great extent, it seems to be causing a lot of trouble. I think one thing I should caution the adult world, and of course that sounds terrible. It sounds like I'm alienating teenagers from adults, but there is a hell of a lot of difference there. The adult thinks. Now, let me back up completely. A teenager in opposition, or a teenager as opposed to an adult's way of thinking, is, needless to say, greatly different. And the adult world today thinks that a great amount of trouble, strife, and problems are coming from the plight of the American teenager. And I don't think that in proportion there's any more trouble than there was before. There are several things that we can accredit, I think, this rise of trouble, if there is a rise. And of course, I've had all these statistics quoted to me until they're running out of my ear. But and I believe them. I'm not saying that they're untrue. The kids today drink more. They look for something to do. They are rebelling against society. They are uprooting the things that they have believed in and the things that the adult world has believed in and has set down as standards. And subsequently, this causes a lot of trouble, a lot of strife, a lot of internal friction. This is manifested physically in knife fights, gun fights, kids on the corners, and so on and so forth. This is what I'm gathering from what I've read and what I can see about me of people saying. And I think to an extent that this is valid. But let me tell you the reasons for these things, people. I want to tell you why. In the first place, our society is just one heck of a lot more complex than it ever has been before. And I don't think that anybody in the world would deny me this particular fact. I feel like that our society now functions in a way that is beyond the wildest dreams of people even in 1910, which is what, 50 short years ago. We have automation. We do have cars. We've got wholesale everything. We can get everything in great quantities. We use things in great quantities. There's more of us. There's more things going on. And more kids today are becoming educated. And with this education comes a social revolution, I think, that is unavoidable. I sound like I'm delivering these absolutes, and I keep interspersing this silly tape with I don't say that this is the truth. I say this is what I think. This is what I think, me, Mike Nesmith, standing here in this stupid little room. And I think that I'm representative of an average viewpoint because I myself am something of a rebel. With education, besides a degree of social revolution, comes a keener awareness of things around you, a keener awareness that things aren't quite like they were told to you when you were 12. And by the time you get to be 17 with the advanced teachings in high school and college, 17, 18, and 19, I think your formative year, your transitional years, and of course you can, the problem is universal, I'm not saying it, but I just think this is our most important time, down even as young as 16 in cases of a lot of girls, that kids become aware of things around them. And boy, I'll tell you, it's frightening. It like scared me to death when I woke up one morning and looked in the mirror, and you just feel grown. People tell you all the time, you don't grow up overnight, and I think you do. And I think that just all of a sudden one day, wham, you're right there, and of course you're just not able to cope with it. And this is a seed of the frustration. And I'm sure I'm not telling anybody anything they don't already know. I mean, I can see the psychologists right now nodding their heads saying, yeah, son, we know. But when you get up and you find yourself thrust out in this world through the loss of what to do, you don't really know which end is up. You don't know what you should do next. And you have your whole thing torn down from under you. You know, when you're in school, or about the time you're a senior, you get this question thrust at you: do you believe in God? By some intellectual tooling around the school. And you say, yeah, naturally, because you go to church and things. And then this intellectual proceeds to make a nut out of you. Proceeds to make an absolute idiot out of you from a logical standpoint, saying, oh, there is no God, this way, this way, this way, this way, and making an absolute sham of everything that you've ever believed in. But this usually doesn't change your mind, but it does upset you. It does make you wonder and make you think what this guy was talking about. And it makes you wonder what's going on. So, and I use that just as an example. I mean, there are countless other things going on. As you maneuver throughout your own society, which is a young world, you find that coupled with this mass confusion, there is no leadership. There is no leadership for the teenage society. Now, I'll tell you somebody who almost made it, who almost was a father, who almost pulled through, and a person who I have the highest regard for even today, and actually, and technically shouldn't. That's Dick Clark, the founder, or I don't know his founder, or whatever he is, of American Bandstand, was a leader. You look for a leader, and you're confused, and there's this mire, and you want to be happy, and so you go out and you drink, and you try and get happy, and you find out that when your mind gets befuddled with booze, you don't care anymore. You're happy. It's great. And of course, it wears off in no time at all. And you go to church and you say, well, what about this guy that told me there was no God? And the preacher gives you the same arguments that you gave this guy, and that this guy that made look so bad. And then you go up and you look in the mirror and you're breaking out. You got pimples all over your face, and you're a muck. You just don't know what to do. And you look around for a leader, and you look around for, well, help me out of this place, and there's nobody around. Now then, oh boy, I can hear it now. Come right through the roof, Well, what about the parents, and what about this, and what about that? What about our social workers? What about the YMCA, and all that? These things are schmuck. They are pure schmuck, because kids nowadays won't associate. And I'm going to base my career on this thing. I'm going to base what I really believe in on this thing. Kids will not associate with anything that is not completely cool, that is not completely suave, that is not totally in, that doesn't swing. If it's not there, it's not there. And I'll tell you that one of the biggest things in the world that doesn't swing are parents. And I'm not going to stand here and I'm not going to say on this tape recorder that I think the parents should make this big revolution and turn around and say, man, we're swingers, we live, we really move, we can keep up, because they can't. Because the parents are a normalizing, stabilizing factor. And you can't look to somebody who's moving like this all the time for guidance. You can't look to one of your own kind for guidance and your deeper, more spiritual understandings of things. So parents, stay where you are. You guys are doing a wonderful job. Parents have always been perplexed by this thing, and just stay on being perplexed and leave us alone. The only place you can find a leader is in your own group of people. That's the secret of popularity in school. The kids want a leader. They want somebody to do something first, because they're not sure. Nobody's sure. And when I was in high school, talk about somebody not being sure. That was me. I didn't know which way to go, and I was probably the world's biggest follower. Although I had the potential of being a leader, and I had this command, I still was a follower because I was so lost, because I had no place to go. And subsequently, I went the route of the thing that everybody's talking about. Now, I'm not going to say, well, I am going to say that to drink at a party and to carouse around and just raise hell in general is good. Now, I really think it's true. I think it is. I think it's an essential part, because you see, teenagers, while they don't have a leader in a person like y'all do, like adults do, they don't have a leader in a person like President Kennedy, and they don't have a leader in a person like a boss at a job, and they don't have a leader in a person like a labor manager. Turn to something superficial. Booze, there's one. A girlfriend, there's two. Car, there's three. Clothes, there's four. I can go on and on and on and on of the things that kids look for the comfort and security that they're seeking. Now, everybody's right when they say it's a lack of security. I mean, I know that. I'm not saying at all that kids nowadays are more secure than they ever were. No, I don't think this at all. I think that because of this complex society that I mentioned a little before, and the way things are moving now, the kids are more insecure probably than they ever have been, coupled with the fact that they're being educated faster, quicker, harder, And that's all right, because the kids nowadays can stand up to it. The kids nowadays have got more backbone, have got more fiber, have got more guts than anything than they ever have had before. So, let me say, the car roll up. I don't know who it is either. Oh, it's next door. I think that they can become very easily adjusted to this tremendous pace that's been established. And darn it, I lost my train of thought. But just say I'm going to play this back. Okay. I don't see that because we're insecure. I mean, it should cause everybody a great deal of worry, although I know it does. The answer that I have to offer for this passage is this. Parents, relax. Officials, relax. Psychologists, relax. Because everything's going to be okay. All we need to do is to find our way out. And y'all can't help us. You can't help us by screaming to us. You can't help us by what do you call it? Loving us. You can't help us by trying to become part of us and lead us out unless and I'm talking, of course, here about parents mostly. I should say that. You can't help us lead. You can't lead us out unless you relax, unless you let go, unless you just say, okay. Now, I'm not saying the mechanics of control should be forgotten and banned and just shoved down the drain and say, okay, kids, do what you want. No, this is not at all. I mean, that would be insane. I'm just saying that parents are going to have to realize the young people of today are of a great deal of caliber. I want to go in with a little detail under the basic reasons why kids do this after I make this one point that will more or less summarize what all I've said up to now. I was talking to a girl one time. I'll use it in this experience. And she said, you know, Mike, I met this guy, and he's great. And this guy really was. And he was a cool guy. And probably one of the world's neatest people, you know. And he drove a little 57 green Thunderbird, and he was real good looking. And this girl asked me, she said, and I don't know what, she says, I know I feel something for him. I know I'm this crazy man in love with him. But I don't know whether it's infatuation, or I don't know whether it's really and truly love. Well, she was 17 at the time. I think I was only 18. But I got a glimpse over her house, and I said it to her. And dearest people, dearest mama and daddy, listen, please, to me, just one thing. I said to Linda, well, I know how you feel. And I'll tell you, yes, you're in love with his car. And yes, you're in love with his look. And yes, you're in love with the way you look when you're around him. But love these things, because that's what you've got right now. That's all you have. You have no basis for a real relationship with him. You're both young. You're both without any actual foundation. So go ahead and love these things, son. Love them, because that's all you've got right now. And work constantly within yourself to found something basic and real. And always keep in mind that yes, you're in love with his car. Yes, you're in love with his reflection. Yes, you're in love with the way you look. Well, that's all I've said up to now. I'm just saying, this is what we've got. And this is what we know. And I think the only thing that mom and dad have to be worried about, and chief priest has to be worried about, and the psychologist has to be worried about, is the fact that we know this, you know, and we'll swear up and down to you, and we'll say, no, we are deep, we're basically sound, we're basically solid, and we know deep down within ourselves that as teenagers we can only be so deep because we only have so much intelligence. And grant us this one favor, grant us that one favor, that thing of letting us fight our way out of this muck, our way out of the moat of misunderstanding and of just plain not knowing. And that seems that was speech. I want to go on to a little bit of extent about the way that I think would be a good way to approach the actual problems that we have nowadays. And this is just from a teenager standpoint. This is just again from a teenager standpoint. I'm going to turn in the Reader's Digest to Mr. what's his name's article that he had in look called The 10th Generation, if I can find it. Oh boy. It's 61. This is by Samuel Grafton. He says, have we created a class of half-grown rejects, angry, violent youngers who believe they are not wanted or needed anywhere? No, we're not half-grown rejects. We're not violent. We are angry, but I think this has to do with the fact that we're becoming more and more educated and subsequent to discontent with our social standing, like I said before. And yes, we do believe we're not wanted anywhere. But I want to say that you can't build a recreation center and say, go down there and be wanted. And you can't come up and you can't say, son, we love you, we want you, so on. It's no good. And I don't know what to say, what to tell you to say, except just to turn around and say, and this will make us feel more at ease and at peace and less rebellious. If somebody will turn around to us like that, and I want to say this to every dead young teenager in the entire United States, and I want to say it now, I believe in you. I think you are a rotten, lousy bunch of kids. I think that you don't know which way is up. I think that you're too young to know it. I think I'm too young to know it. I think I haven't got the sense that God probably gave a dumpy mule. But I do believe that every one of us are of such tremendous moral and mental fiber that we can do it. We can pull ourselves out of this mire. And for crying out loud, Mama, for crying out loud, Papa, leave us alone and let us fight our way up. Leave us alone in this aspect. And don't try and make us feel wanted. Just turn around, and the way you can make us feel wanted is to say, and I mean from the bottom of your heart, turn around and say, son, I'll give you every bit of support you need me. You tell me what you need. And don't say, we know what you need. We know you know it. We know you're sure. Let us figure it out, because it's the only way. I mean, it's kind of a tragic situation. Kids just don't want to learn. Now that's one thing. Keep that in mind. I'll figure it out. Now he says here, he's worried about the street corner commandos and the party crashers and the guys with the long hair and the hoods with thin pinstripe sweaters and the pencil black. And I'm not going to say that doesn't exist, because I'm sure it does. I don't think that it's the general rule. I say that the way to combat this, just like I said before, in this particular aspect. Now, of course, I never was this kind, so I can't really say for sure what the deal is on this thing. But
well, if I'm in the corner, I'm going to be furious.
Okay, well, I did record some, I guess. Hello. Okay. It made that. Well, it's all that wind. I never was this kind of guy, you know. I mean, I never was the kind of clown who wanted to go and just raise heck. Not because I was a stick in the mud, because I think I was probably as swinging as anybody else around. I just never did want to do this. So I can't really talk comprehensively. I just think it gets back to this same situation again. I know one thing: the kids are bored, and I know that they want something to do. And the only way that I can say that I can see that you can get them on board is to find you a sharp young teenager, find you a sharp young dynamic man, and let him go, let him establish it. And for crying out loud, don't give him any more support than financial and your signature on the thing, because you'll kill it. You see, you get this man, you get this boy, and set him up and say, okay, son, get a kid from Los Angeles and say, okay, son, we got this problem. Now how are we going to solve it? And you let us know, and we'll do what you want to do. We'll establish what you want to establish, or maybe a group of them. And don't go getting the people that make good grades, and don't go getting the people that are big science work, because these people are just as mixed up as the others. They just happen to have channeled their creative interests. Don't get these people. Get somebody who is an average student but who's sharp, one who is aware of a problem, one who knows what's going on. And this will take a great deal of perceptivity on the part of adults, but I don't think there's a question that can be handled quite simply. And in New York, Chicago, and St. Louis, and all over, wherever you get this problem, and say, man, what are we going to do? And then listen. Y'all listen. And if you come up with a dumb idea, turn around and say, man, that's a stupid idea. Because this is what we want. We don't want people bathing. We don't want humor. We want to be treated as though we either do or don't know something, don't know anything. And if we don't know anything, tell us. Because, by golly, you watch. The American teenager will bounce back, and he'll bounce back hard and fast, and he'll say, man, I do too, And one way that they bounce back is with a knife. One way they bounce back is with a gun, and this is your own darn fault, because you haven't given him any recoil. Because when you turn to a guy and you say you're no good, you're a slob, you're a creep, you're a dirty old man, you're a dirty little kid, then you have given this guy a feeling of being unwanted, and he goes out and he makes himself wanted. And if he's not wanted, then he says, to hell with society. He grabs him a club, breaks in a window, and steals $1,700 worth of jewelry. So, and for the jollies of it. Don't let this thing happen just because you won't listen. Just listen. Listen a little bit. You listen. Because we'll say, but we're going to have to be convinced of your sincerity. Kids are the most discerning people in the world, and I'll guarantee it to you real quick. And they are the most unforgiving. And I feel kind of strange standing up and saying we're making demands, but I feel like that if you want something done, and it looks like everybody's come to a complete halt, if you want something done, then get somebody who will work, and get somebody who will help you out, and listen to the guy. Will you just please listen to the guy? And I guarantee you that you'll accomplish something. And convince us of your sincerity and belief in our cause by your, like I said before, just leaving us alone, by your saying, can we help you in any way you want us to? And even though we don't always know what's right, neither do y'all. Okay? Even though we don't always know what's right, neither do the adults. So let's keep that in mind, I think, throughout this thing. I want to peruse again a little farther in this article. That's what I say to Mr. Grafton's thing. And Mr. Grafton, I don't know. Man, that's a problem, and I grant it. And I don't know what kind of thinking that it is that would turn a guy into a hood. But I think that it might stem from this particular problem I'm talking about. He goes on about drinking. Boy, this is a sticky problem. And I really can understand, and I know how you parents and how you officials must feel about the teenage drinking problem. Well, for one thing, I'd like to see an 18-year-old drinking limit. I think that in order to, if you're old enough to fight, you're old enough to vote. This is, of course, I suppose, a completely different issue. I think it might help a little. I don't know. It maybe doesn't help in New York at all. And with the same, in that same breath, I'll say that I can certainly understand your point, because I can see where that you may think that when you're 18, you're too young to handle booze, and I think this may be true. I really seriously do. I feel like that it might be entirely too young. But drinking is one of the few ways that a teenager is able to feel as though he's functioning smoothly in his own society. I keep using that word, functioning smoothly. I can think of no better word. Like I say, they sure do want to be accepted, and they sure do feel like they're not, even when they are. And you know how booze relaxes you. You go out and you get some hooch, and you go tooling off into some corner, and you drink, and you can let your hair down and have a good time with each other. And all of a sudden, you forget about yourself. And at this time, people were the most self-conscious kids in the world. At this age, 17, 18, 19, the most self-conscious people in the world. And there's not a thing we can do about it in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a hopeless situation at all. No, not at all. I'm just saying that there's, in a lot of ways, it's just that way. It's just that way. And accept that problem and work with it to correct it, And I think it'd be idealistic to say that you'll create a degree of self-confidence in all American males, all American females under the age of 20. But I don't think it is idealistic to think that if you realize the problem and work around it, that you'll make some kind of tremendous headway. When you drink, you're comfortable. When you drink, you're at ease and relaxed. I have challenged the man that said drinking is obligatory, Mr. Grafton. It's not, sir. It really and seriously isn't, and I mean that. I mean that it's a form of recreation that we all just want to take part in, and there is I would rather imagine a small percentage to, and here again, of course, I'm at a loss without statistics, I guess, and I may be sticking my neck way out on a limb. A small percentage to drink just because the other kids do. Now then, I think that this is a valid cry about smoking. I don't have much time left. Testing. Okay. I think this is the problem with smoking. I think that you can certainly say this is true about smoking, but I don't think that it's not necessarily true about drinking. This is the cause for it. You say you want to stop it. I say forget it. I don't think there's a way in the world to keep the kids from drinking. I think you ought to regulate it, and I think that maybe you can do this by a limited sale of alcohol to teenagers, although there's an easier way to get around that, I suppose. I don't know. I can certainly understand how this problem is kind of insurmountable, but the reason we drink, gang, is not because we're dirty, foul people. It's not because we want to prove our sophistication. It's because, well, there's two reasons. One, I know several of my friends who actually like the taste of liquor. Two, I know several of my friends who like it because it relaxes them. So I suppose that any argument would be valid in this particular thing. I am at a loss. I'll admit that readily about the drinking situation as much as I am about the hoods. I think the reasons are wrong. I think the reasons are wrong. And I think that to be appalled at this problem is like being appalled at older drinking parties. I think the only difference between an older person drinking and a young person drinking is that a young person can't handle his liquor. And when a young person gets really drunk, the inhibitions of youth come out. This is one of those things, I guess. For the lower class of people, the hoods and so on and so forth, it makes them feel powerful. And then, of course, for the kids that are just the average American teenager, it gives them a comfortable, easy feeling. So we drink pretty much for the same reason that y'all drink. We're just not able to handle our booze. So I don't really know what to say. You know, I'm not going to talk right now on girls. I'll talk about right now the great deal of what am I trying to say? Controversy that's come up on kids that come from well-to-do homes being out. All of a sudden, it seems to be thing to do, seems to be cool to crash parties and steal and go on and do things that we have generally throughout our society felt was wrong. Now, I think so too. I think it's wrong, and I'll tell you quite frankly that I've done it. In analyzing why, there were a lot of reasons, but it all boiled down to somebody else was doing it. We were all doing it together, and it made you feel part of something. You'll find that you're not going to get one guy out of these well-to-do homes, busting into jewelry stores, knocking over cafes. They go in a group, and it's not for strength because of fear of attack. It's for strength on your own inside. You've got to have somebody there because you know that what you're doing is wrong. You know it as sure as you do it. Let me turn this tape over. I've got so much to say even yet. We know that basically it's wrong. I'll expound to a great extent on this wrong right feeling that most American teenagers have. We do it because you're either bored, which is a lot of times, 99% of the case. You see, the entertainment media has pretty much overlooked everybody under 21 because we don't have any money, technically. We've got money now, and people are capitalizing on it. We've got just a whole lot of money, and if you'll examine the teenage market, you find out we spend billions of dollars a year just on our own pleasure, because that's all we've got to spend money on. And you'll find out just how much we influence the average market. But of course, that's kind of irrelevant. Coupled with the fact of not having anything to do, we had this yearning, this wanting of, again, and here we go back to the same thing, the leader. And when we find one, even if it's in our own group, and you'll find out your leaders are your most insecure people in your younger ages. They're not your dynamic young student body presidents. No, sirree, Bob. Those don't lead the kids. The kids are led by the guy who is not afraid to do what everybody else is thinking, you see. So, when the leader says something as that, it's almost an edict, so that you can't get away from. That's a lot of the reasons of well-to-do homes, because I don't think that how rich or poor you are has anything to do with the way you feel, money and so on and so forth. Girls. Boy, my favorite subject. Girls, dad, girls' mom are the one saving grace that a boy's ego has when he's young. It's not so much that with a girl. Girls have to stay home and so on and so forth until a boy calls them. And I'm not saying that the girls have it a lot better than the boys, because they sure don't. But I think that the boys have an awful lot tougher time than people are really quite ready to recognize. Now, when a guy finds a girl that he really enjoys being with, her company and everything like that, he clings to her. He makes her his girl by a ring around her neck. He makes her his girl by some other bracelet, exchanging of dog tags, or whatever is the custom. It varies from town to town, And there is a feeling of warmth and a feeling of almost being understood by a guy when he's got a girl that says, I love you. Now she knows that that love is not basic and real. I say she knows it deep, 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 so deep that she couldn't even identify it. She couldn't even understand it, and she would swear up and down, no, she really loved this guy. And same with the guy. He'd swear that he really loved that girl. But somewhere down way, way, way back, they know that something is not all there. When they're young, when you're young. This love is cool. It's like being wanted. This love makes you feel like you're needed by somebody. On both parties part. Now you watch how this kicks back. A parent's love is not cool. If you remember at the first of this recording, I said it's so important for everything in a teenager's life to be cool, to measure up to the standards of his own society. And this kind of love is cool. It's the feeling that you want. It's the feeling that you need in order to maintain a degree of security. When it becomes completely knocked out of perspective by one of two things: the mother's attitude or father's attitude toward the relationship, or a relative stagnation of the mechanics of the relationship, such as not being able to do anything, it will develop into two things. Kind of a series of two, isn't it? That of promiscuity on the part of the girl,
or midnight rides. I can't really make myself completely understood on this, I don't think, as much as I'd like to. But that's as close as I can come to it, what I just said. The solution, you got me. Doesn't seem like giving anybody an answer to hardly anything. And I'm really not going to try, because I really don't think I know. But I'm going to tell you what I think is really the problem. Because I don't think anybody knows. And I think that since adults know a little more about this thing, perhaps, now they may not, know a little more about it, then they're in a little better position to understand what to do as long as they know the problem. I will tell you what is not the solution. The solution is not for more parental love. The solution is not for recreation centers, because those things, people, are not cool, and you cannot make them cool. And when will you quit trying to do that? And they say, and I can hear it now. Boy, it's pretty bad when the American youth of today says mother and father love and social functions are not cool. Well, buddy, I'm saying it. And I'm going to say it real loud. That is not cool. You cannot use this as a basis for making young men and young women choose a proper course of life. People, we do it in spite of you, not because of you. That's all I can say about that. The girl problem, I have a few suggestions. Once again, back to the entertainment thing. Let's keep ourselves busy, because there's an awful lot of energy in American youth that's just unchanneled, uncharted, and just don't have any place to go. Recognize the relationship. Never say that the relationship is superfluous. Never say that, well, that's the way you probably should feel at this age. Never say that it doesn't make a lot of difference between of your relationship. And mom and dad, never break a boy and a girl up without bringing them over to your house, to both of them, to the one in question, and letting it be known to both of them, sitting there together, with their arm around each other, how you feel, that you don't think they ought to date as much as they are, and so on and so forth. But don't just arbitrarily break somebody up, because you'll run someone absolutely crazy. You'll run somebody nuts, and it's liable to be your own kid. So that's all I got to say about that. I'm going to close this, and I don't know whether this stand will be recognized by many people, but there are three things that I feel like that maybe adults don't understand that they ought to. In the first place, the American teenager of today is just as confused, just as lost and feels just as unneeded and unwanted as you pray to God he doesn't. The thing that salvages this is the fact that we know it. We know it. We know we're this way. It's want of a better horse. It's just want of a better horse. It's a feeling of misunderstanding of what's going on around you. It's the want not to be loved by your mother or your father. It's the want to belong. It's the want to have somebody ask you what you think and really give a damn. It's the want that makes them drink. It's the want that makes us date as we date. It's the want that makes us engage in the pastimes that we engage in. And we're going to keep doing it until we come up with an answer. You can't give us that answer. All you can do is ask us, please, and I've begged this of people, ask us, please, can you help us? What do we want you to do? For once in an adult's life, stand up and admit. Stand up and say, kids, you're right. We don't know what to do about this problem, but I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll work with you. And we'll pool our knowledge with your knowledge. Because you know more about the problem, and we've got a lot of answers. And we'll listen. I'll guarantee we'll listen. I guarantee we'll listen, Mom and Dad. I guarantee we'll listen, Mr. Policeman. Approach it from that angle, will you? And be sincere about it. Dick Clark was almost there. Dick Clark almost had it. Now, I don't mean this to be a big thing for Dick Clark, because the man, I'm sure, had his shortcomings as much the same as anybody else. The second item whatever you do, please make it cool. I can't define that word. I can't tell you where it comes from. I can't tell you how to use it. If it's not cool, if it's a yuck, then quit doing it, because you're not going to get anywhere. Listen. Wait. And watch. And when you see the opportune movement, then move. But don't go bustling in on the already so terribly confused world of a teenager. Third, the very last, we know we're wrong. We know it. We've always known it. You knew it when you were growing up, that what you were doing wasn't absolutely right. But you just didn't know what else to do. All teenagers have a tremendous amount of moral and ethical fiber. You'll find that teenagers are the quickest to discern, and that teenagers have a code of black or white. It's either all right or it's all wrong. And they may do it, but they know it's wrong. And if it's right, they know it's right. They may justify, they may stand up and scream. It might be justified, but they know when they're right and when they're wrong. I'm talking here about mechanics, about function, about everyday living. The place where we don't know what's going on is in our own thinking. We're not sure. We're growing. We're trying to find out. And that's what the plea that you hear from us is. We're just trying to find out. So help us. Don't hinder us. Work with us, not for us. And for heaven's sakes, believe in us.
I called her Arabic. I called her Tiffany. I called her Arabic. She, so did most of her other friends, I think. It was short for Arabella Craddock. That name sort of went with her, too. I don't remember a lot about her now, about the way she looked at me. I just remember that she looked like her name was Arabic, or something like that. She was blonde. Not real blonde. She had kind of blonde that you're sure is natural, you know? And she wore her hair the way blonde girls should wear their hair, about shoulder length and simple. I guess it would come closer to being a page boy style than anything else. She had emerald eyes. They weren't green, they were emerald. Well, actually, not the kind of emerald you think of. I mean, they weren't like a jewel or anything. They were like a new, clean, empty 7-Up bottle when you hold it up to the sun, or like linen skin bracer, or something. That kind of emerald. Blonde hair and those emerald eyes. And if that wasn't enough, she had a suntan that wasn't really a suntan at all, but a natural skin coloring. All this makes Arabi sound like she was a complete dream lord or something, but she really wasn't. I remember a buddy and I decided one day that Arabi was clean cut. That's really the only word. When I met Arabi, I was in some sort of thespian meeting at school. And since I knew a great deal about acting and all, I was being supremely cool that day. You know how you act when you're in your own habitat. Anyway, Arabi was there, and I saw her and started showing off and impressed her as far as I could tell. That Friday we went out. I really liked Arabi the more I knew her. That Friday we talked and talked after some dopey dance in the gym, and I felt real comfortable with her somehow. I wanted to kiss her that night, I remember, but I didn't. She had class, and I was afraid of messing everything up if I tried to kiss her on the first date. But I sure wanted to. I remember I said to her in the car that I thought we'd better go before I kissed her. It was the kind of remark you make just to see what the girl will do, you know. Well, she wasn't shocked or anything, but I figured that I'd better play it safe, so I shook her hand and winked and borrowed a little power from thinking how it would be the next time. It was a while after that I asked her out again. 2 or 3 weeks, I remember. But we didn't go anywhere that night either, really. Important to a football game, I think. But when we got to the door, she started acting funny, and I knew something was wrong. I talked for a while on the front porch, kind of feeling the situation out and all, and by the time the conversation hadn't gone too far, I knew that things were fouled up. She said she had a fever blister or something stupid, and I almost laughed, but it wasn't really that funny. Anyway, I didn't kiss her. Oh, I went ahead and tried, but she was pretty set, so I didn't make a scene. I just left, said goodnight, and winked. About this time, I started hanging around with a bunch of kids from the choir at school. We were all pretty unpopular, I guess. I had maintained some degree of social prominence around school, but it never was for real. And then these kids came along, and I felt like I belonged to them or something. There was Franklin Bricky, who smoked London Dock, and was best friends with Scott Ripley, who really didn't like Virginia Witt, who was always trying to make friends with Jan Rankin, who drove a 57 Chevrolet she let me drive. You know, one of those kind of cliques. Well, there were a bunch more. We were always skipping school and pooling our money and buying some stuff from the delicatessen. Then we'd go to this huge abandoned old house with rolling lawns and a private lake and have a party on the shore of this lake. Or we'd all get together and have a party at my house.
There were about 15 or 16 of us all together. It was getting pretty cold, and I still remember the frost on the inside of the car windows at Franklin's London dock, and the way leaves sound when they're dry. Every time it gets cold, I think of that time. Well, anyway, one night we decided we should have a party that weekend at my house. I asked Sarah B to go. I don't know why. Sarah B really wasn't one of those type people. She was terribly popular, cheerleader and all, and was much sought after date, and I wasn't even sure she'd fit in with my little group. But I'd been dating her some, and I felt like I just wanted her to come, you know. When Friday came around, snow was forecast, and sure enough, about noon, huge tufts of white snow sauntered down and seemed to sort of nestle on the ground. In Dallas, this was something of a rarity, and we were all pretty excited about it. By nightfall, the ground was covered with this white pelt, and it was really great to see. But the coolest part of the evening was the moon. How it could be snowing like it was, and have such a moon was amazing to me. Irby that night had on a white full-length cashmere coat, and was very soft when I helped her into the car. Everything smelled like an Eskimo pie, and I knew that I'd have a terrific time that night. And I did. Irby meshed quite smoothly into that little society, considering, and I fell more in love with her as the evening wore on. It didn't seem to make any difference that I had never been able to kiss her goodnight or anything, even though I wanted to all the time, even though she had shunned every time I'd asked her or tried to kiss her. Everything was just real great all of a sudden, and I thought Irby was cool beyond words. We left the party about 11:30, I guess. I know it was early. One thing we usually never did was drink, and so I had all my faculties on me. And when we stepped outside to go, and I saw the snow and the moon, and felt the air, and smelled her white cashmere coat, I felt like I should yell or something. It was terrific, and it was all there, and all at the same time. I had to drive slow home because of the roads and all. We talked on the way home about nothing really. The headlights of the car made the snow look like fallen carnations, and made the roads look clean and new and fresh. When we got to the door, we both stood there in the snow and looked at each other. I knew that Irby wanted me to kiss her. I knew it as sure as the world. I knew she wanted me to put my arms around her white cashmere coat and pull her close to me and kiss her gently and everything. I knew it. And I looked at Irby and I just said good night and winked like I always had and walked away. And the snow crunched under the tires of the car, and the moon was shining, and everything smelled like an Eskimo pie.